So today we're going to check out filming locations for another music video, another rap music video, and I'm excited about this one because it's by one of my favorite rappers of all time, and I'll explain why in a little bit. So join me today as we check out filming locations for Ice-T, I'm Your Pusher. Let's go see what we can find.
Yo, what's up, man? I need to get high, man. I need to get hold of some big time dope, man. You know I can get a key. I know we can get
I think probably the first place I ever heard this was on K-Day, all the way back when it was an AM station. At the time, K-Day was the only place playing rap music in LA. So we would drive around in my dad's truck, which only had an AM radio, and we would listen to K-Day. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that's the first place I heard I'm Your Pusher. I was still young, so I didn't know who Curtis Mayfield was yet. I'm your mama, I'm your daddy, and I just thought the song sounded so cool. And then shortly after that, they started playing the music video on MTV, and today we're finally checking out the filming locations for it. Now, I've talked before about how when I was a little kid, I listened to Prince and Michael Jackson, and then my brother and I discovered rap, and that was it. But there was another kind of music that was really big in the 80s, and our next door neighbors, they were metal kids, and I would go over to their house, and they would listen to heavy metal records. But one day my brother was like, "You've been listening to too much heavy metal, you gotta decide." And this really bummed me out because I liked both, but in the end I chose rap, but I still secretly liked metal. And then a few years later, I was listening to the new Ice-T record, and he was doing a fake interview where he was talking about how much he likes rock and metal music, and how he feels sorry for anyone that only listens to one type of music.
And I happen to like rock and roll, and I feel sorry for anybody who only listens to one form of music.
And he then premiered one of the tracks from his band Body Count, and I was totally blown away by the track. But what I was more blown away by was the fact that one of these rappers that I looked up to also liked rock music. So Ice-T was one of the first ones to make me realize that it's okay to like rap and metal, or punk or hardcore. And honestly, if you like punk or hardcore and you don't like rap, you're just not paying attention, because they come from the same place. So when I first started trying to hunt for the locations for this video, there were two spots that I was adamant about finding. One of them I found, but unfortunately it's been torn down, and we'll get to that one in a little bit. The other location, the first location of the video, was by far the hardest one to find, and I had actually given up on it. Like, I spent 2 months trying to find it, and then 2 days ago I said I was gonna try just one more time, and I found it. It's this building right here behind me. So the video starts with Ice-T breaking into a top security facility. Actually, it starts with a news report about the rap band where she shows footage of him breaking into that security facility. Now, am I the only one that thinks that this news report is out of place? She looks nothing like a news reporter. She's having a lot of trouble reading the dialogue, and for some reason, her top is the exact same color as the wall behind her. Nothing about this looks like a real news report. Anyways, back to the locations. The video starts with Ice-T breaking into a top security facility to steal some master tapes, and we get kind of an overhead shot, Ice-T running away from the front of this building and then running up to this gate. I mean, the gate's probably been changed, but he would have been running up to this spot right here and then cutting a hole in the fence and taking off with the master tapes. So a good portion of the video actually takes place right here on Hollywood Boulevard, where it meets Whitley. Ice-T pulls up and he parks it. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure he parks it right where I'm standing, because if you look, you can see how the ground is different. I believe this used to actually be part of the street. The sidewalk started right here. So he would have actually pulled up and parked his car right here, but he parks, he gets out, he walks around the back of it, and you can see this market across the street on the corner. he comes around the back and up onto the sidewalk, where he immediately starts getting harassed by a guy who's asking him to score some dope from him. But Ice-T is not having it, because the only dope that he's interested in slanging is dope beats and lyrics.
Dope beats and lyrics, no beatless needed.
And so they're now just walking in this section of Hollywood Boulevard. A lot of the video actually takes place right here in front of these stores. At the time, this was Hollywood Toys. Hollywood Toys and Costumes is now next door, but at the time, it was this storefront. It's now 3 separate stores, but all of this was Hollywood Toys and Costumes. And at the time, it was a brick building, and these were all windows and not storefronts. And the part where he holds up the record and tells the guy he can hook him up with a 12-inch, well, that was actually right here in front of this store. Like I said, at the time, this was a window, and there would have been a guy standing right there at the end. And you can tell that they're in front of Hollywood Toys, because at one point, I think in the window you can see like a chicken costume and some rubber masks, and then when they move down a little bit, you can see Garfield and some other toys, and I think you can actually see Hollywood Toys at one point on the window as well. And actually, if you go on Hollywood Toys and Costumes website, they have an old picture of the building when it was located here, and it's taken from across the street, and you can see those windows up there, and that's one way that you know that this is the right building. So most of the stuff on Hollywood Boulevard was filmed right here, but there are a couple of other shots filmed in front of a check cashing place and a pizza place, both of which are just right down the street. There's a few shots of them trying to slang rap tapes in front of a check cashing place, which for many years was located right there on the corner of Hollywood Boulevard and Cahuenga Boulevard, but it's now a coffee shop. A little bit later in the video, there's some quick scenes of them selling the rap tapes outside of a pizza place, which Hollywood Boulevard was and still is littered with. Unfortunately, that one no longer exists. I'm pretty sure it's where this smoke shop is now located. Although the building looks completely different, there's still a few things that you can match up. When the camera is shooting in the opposite direction looking at Ice-T, behind him you can see the green lights of the Musso and Frank sign. It's now really hard to see because of all the trees, but that's it right there. And again, the building looks completely different, but you can still match up the exact spot where Ice-T was standing. All of the lines match up perfectly. We see Ice-T's plane landing at LAX, and that would have been right back here in this area. You can see the planes there behind me. The way that we know that this is the right spot is by the building that you see on the other side of his plane. That building would have been right over here, but it's since been torn down. Now, the way that we know that this is where that building was is, first of all, if you go on Google Maps, you can still see that building and it still looks the same. But also in the video on the other side of that building, you can see the Marriott Hotel, which you see right over here. And so if we go back here to where the planes are and we point the camera in that direction, you get that same shot of the Marriott Hotel and that smaller building just to the right of it. So I'm pretty sure that shot was taken from right here on the other side of the airport in what's now the parking lot of DHL. You've got the planes right in front of me, and then the Marriott building with that smaller building just to the right of it. The only thing that's missing is the building that was torn down. So after Ice-T's plane lands, he's supposedly going through customs when he suddenly grabs the master tapes and goes running out the front door. And that was filmed right here at this building behind me, which at the time was Television Center Studios. You can see it's still got the sign up there that says Television Center, even though it hasn't been that for a long time. But at the time, it was a television studio. Now, I don't know if they actually filmed inside of this building as well, but I have a feeling this is probably where Customs was, right inside of there, but I don't know that for sure. But right there is where he comes running out of the front door, and as you can see, it looks exactly like it did in the video. The only thing that has changed is a paint job, but other than that, everything is as it was. So he comes running out the door and across the street to the parking lot, which at the time there was no parking structure here. This was just a big empty lot, and his car would have been parked roughly right about here. There's now trees and a wall and lots of cars parked in here, so kind of hard to get the exact same shot, but his car was parked roughly right about here, and you can see that building across the street. You can see that behind his car when he jumps in and takes off. Now, I had mentioned that there were two locations that I was adamant about finding. One of them was that first spot where he steals the master tapes, and the other one was that red brick building where he has his car parked on the dock and he's sitting on the hood of his car. Well, that building used to be located right here behind me. It was really hard to figure out where this building was because it doesn't exist anymore, but after searching for it for a really long time, we finally found a picture of it, and we were then able to figure out where that picture was taken, and it was right here. It was part of the soap factory that used to be here, which you can also see in the movie I'm Gonna Get You, Sucka. So once Ice-T gets spotted by the cops, we then get a very fast-paced car chase through downtown LA. But it's supposed to be Broward County, Florida, which, funny enough, just a couple of years later, they would be in the news for banning 2 Live Crew's record. Now, in reality, they're just going back and forth in what's now known as the Arts District in downtown LA. So let's see if we can match up some of these spots. So just about this entire chase was filmed on Santa Fe Avenue and Mateo Street, right where it crosses the 4th Street Bridge, and they're just going back and forth in that same area. Everything except for this last scene where he's driving off, that was filmed at 725 Banning Street, about a block away from that dock where he has his car parked earlier in the video. So towards the end of the video, he goes to a secret underground club to try and sell some records to the DJ. Now, I don't know exactly where they filmed that. I'm gonna assume that that was a set and not an actual restaurant or club, and I'm thinking that it's possible that they filmed it here at Television Center Studios. Now, I don't know for sure, but it would make sense because they filmed that other scene with him running out the front door, and so it would make sense that they were already here filming other stuff for the video. But again, I don't know for sure, that's just a guess. And so this is where we're gonna end the video. Hopefully you enjoyed coming with me on this journey today to check out the filming locations. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.